Get used to hearing this voice because you will hear it a lot on your phone messages through e-blast. You will hear good evening, South Orange Middle School family, your proud principal here. I'd like to welcome you to our virtual Welcome to Middle School event where we give you tools and tips for getting ready for success in middle school. Again, I'd like to apologize that my camera is not working this evening, but don't worry, I'm right here with you. I'd like to start off just by saying that we will not be able to answer every question in the chat tonight, but this is being recorded, and from your questions in the chat, we will develop an FAQ and I will send that right out to you. The time is now 7:04 and we would like to begin. We are so happy to have this opportunity to meet with you, and I just want to let you know that there are other in-person opportunities. Mark this date down right now. May 26th is our School in Action Night. And we are so happy that this year we will be back in person. And this is an opportunity for you and your children to come through and see really school in action. There'll be exhibits. You'll get to walk into classrooms. You'll get to talk to teachers. Again, that date is May 26th, and I will send out information to you, so do not worry. I want to let you know that middle school can be a very scary time for many people, but we are here to make that transition. We are here to make this a smooth road for your children. Our job is to create a safe space for your child, and that means space safe emotionally, mentally, physically, academically, and socially. Your children will make mistakes, rest be assured. But because this is middle school, this is an opportunity for them to learn from their mistakes so that they don't make them in the future. We do practice restorative practices. So we want to restore our community. We are a school of upstanders and not bystanders. And you will hear me say that over and over and over again. I am so proud of the team that we have at South Orange Middle School. I can't say it enough. Next slide. This picture is so important to us because pre-COVID, our 8th grade students, and this is something that your soon to be 6th graders can look forward to. We take an overnight trip to Washington, D.C. every year. And we are so glad that in 2023, we will go back to taking our kids to Washington, D.C. We've had a phenomenal time every year that we go. Next slide. This is the information. Again, I'm your proud principal, Lynn Irby. The other assistant principals are Jim Waldron and James Jennings. Again, you don't have to copy all of this down. I will send you this presentation. Our school vision. The South Orange Maplewood School District middle schools will together become the top performing middle level system in the nation by focusing on academic excellence, responsiveness to student needs, and social equity. We will accomplish this by supporting our students to demonstrate academic and personal growth and achieve at their highest levels. And Mr. Waldron, you can take it from here.
I think this is me. Hi, everyone.
We're a family, so just go ahead and talk.
I'm Linda Bella. I'm one of the team leaders, and I wanted to explain what a team leader is. Because the middle school is a big deal, we have a lot of students there. We have close to 300, I think, per grade. And what we do is we divide the groups up into smaller teams so that on my team, I have one social studies teacher, one language arts teacher, and then myself for science. And then the math teachers are cross-teamed, but we can at least concentrate on keeping a smaller group where we can meet as teachers to make sure the kids are getting what they need, focusing on doing group activities. It doesn't pull children away from larger activities when we go on field trips. So teaming is very easy for the children and better for them, sort of like a smaller little microcosm. The other part of that is if we have to have a meeting with parents, please don't panic. We always have it as a team. And we do that because we want to make sure that all the teachers can be there with you so we can talk about what's working with the child and what's not, and how we can borrow from some ideas from one class to the other. So we always work as a group that way. For teams, you would always reach out to your team leader first if you need a meeting. If it's directly to a teacher and you only need, to speak to the one teacher about something, you can totally just reach out to them. But know that the team leader is sort of your go-between for a lot of the things. We'll set meetings up. We'll implement some ways of maybe getting your child back on track. Things I would just point out, and I'm sure it's going to be repeated, for fifth graders coming into sixth grade, it's a big move. And for parents more than the children, I think it's really frightening. I always say that you'd be amazed what children can do. And I can share with you that today I took my students on a trip that I was apprehensive because of the level of precision that they needed. I thought they're going to crumble, they're going to be upset. And in fact, they loved it and they embraced it and they handled every bit of it so well. So I think we need to remember that they're yearning for this structure, for this responsibility, and to prove themselves. And we give them a safe place to do that. So the teams we have in sixth grade are Team A, myself, Team B is Miss McClure, and Team C is Miss Keegan. And so it's broken down in that way. And there'll be groups of teachers that work with them. Okay, Mr. Waldron.
Excellent. We can head to the next slide, and I believe Ms. McClure is going to give us some information about the extending learning opportunities.
Hi, I'm Jen McClure. I'm a team leader for Team 6B. So actually, this perfect jumping off point, since Miss Abella was just talking about her field trip from today. So some of the things that the teams will engage in as a team are our field trips and our sixth grade activities, bringing it out to the larger group as a whole. So we do movie days, we do SOPAC performances. We're looking forward to a welcome to, actually coincidentally, same name as tonight's presentation, welcome to middle school performance at SOPAC later in May. Our field day, which we have every year in June. We're looking forward to that at the end of the year. That's just a great day to get the kids out of the building. We go over to Floods Hill and the Baird Center, and we are able to just kind of be outside and bond as a team and, get the kids having a fun day at the end of the year. Our planetarium, we are working currently still under COVID restrictions, but we're looking for a virtual planetarium event, hopefully in May as well. Most of our field trips in sixth grade do occur at the end of the year. Some life skills trips we also do. The music department has some trips, and I'm sure Mr. Ezzo will talk about that later on in our presentation. Intrepid is one of our former trips, and we have all kind of synced up in the fantastic trip that Miss Abella was talking about. It's the Bueller Challenger and Science Center. It's completely interactive for the kids. They get to write an application letter to be a NASA astronaut and perform as a team member in a simulated space mission. Miss Abella's team went to Mars. Miss Keegan and I's teams are going to Comet Halley in just about 3 weeks. So it's a really, really fun trip. And we've gotten so much positive feedback in the past and already positive feedback from this year, just from today from Miss Abella's team. So it's a great, great trip that the kids really look forward to. And kind of that gets passed down every year with 7th and 8th graders and 9th graders talking about the trip with the 6th graders. And then we have our 6th grade activities, a lot of which are sponsored by the HSA. The ice cream social, usually earlier in the year, we have the Monster Ball or the Monster Bash for Halloween, the 6th grade social, movie night, dances, and things like that. All really wonderful events sponsored by our HSA.
Excellent job. As we move to the next slide, you'll see what our normal day or kind of how our curriculum and instruction is set up. We have 4 core courses, the ELA, mathematics, science, and social studies. Those do meet daily. As Miss Abella said earlier on, they're in teams for the ELA, the science, and the social studies. The math is not teamed up, but we try to keep it close as we can. Then we have the related arts and the electives. They meet every other day and they're in trimesters. Students will have the opportunity to take Spanish or Mandarin Chinese, and then physical education and health are a requirement. And then obviously you will get the choice for one of the music ensembles, the chorus, the band, or the orchestra. And then there's an opportunity to take drama and art, which is actually broken up into 2D and 3D. Excellent. Now here's our ELA, which is led by Dr. Bean folks. She's the supervisor from the district. As you can read here on the screen, they do a variety of different things. They have opportunities to read a lot of different novels. They have the opportunity to work on their writing skills. And they're also taught many different ways to express themselves, obviously through, writing with argumentative, informational writing, and even some of their own narrative writing. So it's important for us to really start them out with a nice, appropriate program in ELA that will give them the tools moving forward. And now we'll move to the next slide. And Mr. Jennings will give us some information about math. Math's grade 6 and pre-algebra 6. Mr. Jennings, you can move the slides and they have information.
Okay, math grade 6. This course addresses grade 6 New Jersey students' learning standards for math. It covers one grade level of math concepts in 1 year. This course prepares students for pre-algebra for 7th graders. Next slide. The pre-algebra course is it's actually a 7th grade class, but sometimes students come in more prepared. I know most of this was presented at the math night for the district, but I will continue to read on. In addition to the above grade 6 concepts, this course includes all the grade 7 New Jersey student learning standards for math. It integrates 2 full grade levels of concepts in 1 year. This course prepares students for algebra integrated with grade 8 as a 7th grader. Next.
And here we'll have Miss Keegan, who's one of the other team leaders, jump in and give us some information regarding social studies.
Real quick, I just want to go back, I'm sorry, to the math. You should have already selected your math. If you have not, you should reach out to Kim Bean. And again, I'll send out this information tomorrow so that you have her email.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Lauren Keegan. I'm the team leader for Team 6C, as well as one of the 6th grade social studies teachers. I teach along with Dr. Barnhart and Miss Kong for the other teams. Social studies is a really exciting class for a lot of the 6th graders, as many of them did not have social studies every day in elementary school. Many of them come in with a very different array of background knowledge in terms of what they have been taught and what they know. So as a result of that, we do take a little bit of time in the beginning of the year, really working on community building and looking at those foundations of American government. Next year, we are going to be integrating our civics unit throughout our social studies curriculum, which is going to be something new for this year, as well as we also do use the Amistad curriculum as well as the social studies state standards. So you can see it's a very large amount of time to cover in 6th grade social studies. We do work chronologically, which I think helps a lot of the 6th graders be able to kind of visualize, hopefully coming in with their prior knowledge from 4th and 5th grade, jumping into the Civil War and the Reconstruction era, and you can see moving on all the way to the Civil Rights era. As with COVID and virtual and hybrid, I do have to say that we have been moving really, really well in terms of hitting all of our key components for this year. So that's something that we're really proud of. As well as social studies, we work very closely with our language arts teachers to make sure that we are incorporating the same reading and writing strategies. We also do argumentative writing. We do a lot of claim and thesis statements, as well as supporting that with evidence. We also work on active reading strategies throughout the school year while incorporating a lot of primary and secondary source analysis through images, videos, music. We just had a great lesson on the Harlem Renaissance that a lot of the students enjoyed getting to hear different types of music, different types of dance. And the 1920s, we do critical thinking discussions through Socratic seminars and debates, different types of simulations when we can have that opportunities available to us. So I know the sixth grade social studies department, we work very, very closely together to make sure that we are hitting these topics, hitting these standards, and really just giving your children the best opportunity, and really hoping to create that love of social studies and history that we all have as well. But I'm looking forward to getting to know all of your incoming sixth graders, and definitely excited for their social studies experience.
Excellent. And we're going to go over to science. And is it Miss McClure or is it going to be Miss Abella? Both of them are science teachers. So
I think it's technically me, but if Miss Abella wants to jump in, or up to her.
the two of you can take this one. Go ahead.
Sure. So Miss Abella, you want me to talk about topics, and you
Go
want
ahead.
to talk about inquiry learning, hands-on experiences? All right, cool.
All right. Go ahead. Yeah.
So our units and topics in science for sixth grade, like Miss Keegan was saying, they fifth graders in elementary school, fourth grade, whatnot, they really don't get the opportunity to have full periods of science every day, and they come to sixth grade really excited to start engaging in science and being able to have it every single day, and really being able to dig deep into topics with having it every day. So we start off our year with the scientific method. We call it our Be a Scientist unit. So we're talking about science skills, and how scientists operate in the real world, and using the scientific method, and just kind of how to do science. That really is our first marking period. We jump into measuring matter, and looking at mass, volume, and density for our second unit, for second marking period. That's where we really get a lot of the math-based connections in our units. We jump into physics after that. So we're talking about Isaac Newton, forces in motion, which is a really fun unit. Lots of labs, lots of hands-on activities for the kids to do. And then we round off the year with astronomy, which is what we're in right now. Usually the favorite of the year. The kids are really excited. They all have a lot of knowledge that they want to come in with, and facts and things that they know. And this one knows about black holes, and that one knows about string theory. And so we get a lot of, kind of learning, moments of learning that maybe are not necessarily in our curriculum, but they're teachable moments where a student will bring up a fun, interesting fact that they know, or something that they're really passionate about learning about. And it also connects to our Bueller field trip as well that we were speaking about before. And we round off with the famous ET project at the end of the year, which if you have older students, you will be familiar with their building of an alien, and presenting on that, and getting to learn a little bit more about our solar system and our universe.
And I'll pick up on the inquiry based, we do definitely a lot of hands-on works. We know our children, we know that they need to be moving, be interactive. And so a lot of our work is very intense lab stuff in the beginning to get them to kind of wake up and know you're in a real lab. They wear goggles, they work with glassware, and it's fun. They really have a good time with it. And in the beginning, it's more about learning the tools and the skills to then do the more abstract thinking that we do in astronomy. Our ET alien project is actually not a cute little art project. It's designing a life form that could possibly be living on another planet in our solar system. And that requires them to research the background of the solar system, of the planet, the conditions, the atmosphere, and tell us what that creature would look like. And they have to tie their reasoning to it. So it's very in-depth. We also play around with terraforming, which is kind of fun too, which is what we've been talking about since we did our mission to Mars today. The hands-on lab, they do work with partners. They work in teams. We share materials. They have jobs to do, and it's highly interactive, and it holds accountability for all the kids in the group. And I think that's a really good social skill. We watch how they grow from the beginning in September to now, where they independently are doing a lot of the work. And they, even today and I can't stop talking about this trip because we had so much fun, but it was adorable to watch that they literally cleaned up their areas by themselves. And yes, parents, they do that. Because that's the teamwork that they've been taught from the beginning. Like, you don't leave that behind. And, you know, it's like I always teach the children, it's the team first, you second. And, you know, they're embodying that a lot. So it's a really good social learning as well as academic learning in science.
Excellent. We'll go over to world language and Mr. Jennings again. You're back up. Mr. Jennings, I think you need to unmute.
Yeah, Mr. Jennings, you have to unmute.
I had to apologize. I was muting myself. In world language, there's 2 offerings, and it's very important that for Spanish is something that kids are familiar with. I know they have an experience at the elementary school level, but they don't have the opportunity to be in the Mandarin Chinese. And most students transition easier into the Spanish, but our Mandarin Chinese program has really taken off. And right now there's limited space. So that's something you really need to think about when you are selecting. That is another course in which the parents select. The unit topics are greetings and goodbyes, calendars, numbers up to 100, asking and responding to questions, personality, physical traits to describe people, nouns to talk about likes and dislikes, activities to talk about likes and dislikes. So, I mean, it's really interesting. One of the things at the back to school night, I would hope that you take out the time to visit, you know, both languages just to see really what's best for your child and see where their interest lies. But again, the Mandarin Chinese, there is limited space because we only have 1 teacher and we have, I think, 3 or 4 Spanish teachers.
Excellent. Now we move into the 6th grade health. This is a 1 trimester class. And during this time, we begin to talk about what is health, because now the students are going to start to wonder about different things that are going on in their life. They're going to see some changes over the next few years as they, you know, become 7th and 8th graders and then move on to the high school. You're going to see on the bottom, we will talk about things such as wellness, some of the body systems, we'll talk about them, character education, nutrition. There will also be a slight introduction to what alcohol and drugs and the effects on those body systems can be. So therefore, you're going to start to get into a little preview of what will be coming more so in the 7th and the 8th grade. As we move to the next slide, which is our physical education slide. Sorry, Mr. Ezzo. There we go. Phys Ed. Phys Ed is a state requirement. It is a full year course. Usually it's coupled up with the music. So on the alternating day, the student will have music, and then the other day they'll have Phys Ed. It does sometimes work out differently, but sometimes we like to keep it that way. Within that, students will be asked, well, under this year's COVID guidelines, students weren't changing, but they've begun to start changing again. So they will change their clothes for PE. They will take those clothes home each day because obviously we don't want to leave them in the locker because they do need to be washed, and we don't want like weeks of clothing in the gym because they will probably not smell very well if they're sweating and working hard like they normally do within the Phys Ed. There is indoor and outdoor events depending on the weather outside. If it's not too cold or not too wet, they will utilize Cameron Field. They will also utilize the field behind the Baird if needed to do the different skills and different events. And we go to special education. Special education is its own part to our building. It's the CST team. They do a great job. Dr. Budine is new to the district this year, along with Dr. Mendez, and both of them have worked with our group to make our special education program at the best it can be. Obviously, many parents that are in here who have access to special education within the elementary schools, that will all be passed up by the case managers to the case managers at the middle school, and they will reach out to you and they will work on it. Our child study team has Dana Franza, Penny Petchers, and Janice Catalano. So depending on how they set up the program and who the case manager is at the elementary school, they will then pass that on to one of the case managers at our school, who will be in contact with you to set up an IEP meeting and to make sure that your students are scheduled in the right courses for their IEP needs. And we have Faja Goodwin, or Salam Goodwin. Miss Goodwin is on here. Can you kind of give us a little insight into the counseling service that you provide to the program?
Yes, so hi, I'm Faja Goodwin. I know it says Salam Goodwin, but it's easier for the students to just say Goodwin. And I provide counseling to all the students that have IEPs, and they have counseling in their IEPs. However, that does not mean that if a student comes into the office, that I would turn them away. We also have the school counselors, Ms. Walsh and Mr. Singh, and they also are available. And then there is another social worker, Allison Steiner, who is in charge of like the school climate, and she's in charge of the interns. So we get social work interns, and they're here for the school year, and they're also able to counsel students. So if there's always counseling services available to every student, and sometimes teachers may recommend, sometimes we may meet with your child and kind of say, oh, they would benefit from an intern if they don't have IEP counseling. So, but we never push any kids away. And everybody's mental health is important. So everybody is able to get some type of counseling, and we always reach out to parents to bring them on board.
I want to just chime in right here for a moment about our intern program, which this year they've done a phenomenal job. Coming back from the pandemic, the hybrid, the virtual schooling, it was a lot for all of us, but especially for our children. And so they were able to really jump in and create other spaces for our kids. I'm sure your children, they're going to be coming from a cafeteria where there was maybe 50, 60, 70 kids in there. They're going to be going to a cafeteria that has 280 kids, 3 different lines, one hot food, one cold food, a sandwich line, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So this year, one of the things that the interns worked on is developing alternate spaces, which are actually in the cafeteria, but a little room offside. And they wrote a grant, and they got bean bags, and they got string lights. And it was just that quiet space for someone who needed to get their lunch, go in there and eat, read a book. And so the work that they do is really important. And so when we talk about, special education and counseling services, please, please, please understand it is not just for students with special needs. Again, when our counselors come on, they'll talk about the counseling services that they provide. But our interns have done an incredible job. And that's one of the things that you will actually see at School in Action Night. Thank you.
And now we move to the 504s. I'm the one who will be working with all of our 504 families. All of the 6th grade 504s will be sent. They come up through the Frontline program, which is the program we use to store them. What will happen is the elementary school will reassign them to all of the middle schools. And once they get there, we, Ms. Helstern, who is my secretary, will then look at the dates and coordinate and triage the 504s into the most critical 504s will be met immediately as far as if we need to make any adjustments. And then what we will do is go through them and meet and have 504 meetings to assist any students if there's any changes that need to come from the elementary school that may not suit our school, or things that we can offer that may not be able to be offered at the elementary school, such as different programs. Again, we are looking to make sure that your student transitions very smoothly from the elementary to the middle, especially with students with 504s and IEPs. We want to make sure that they're in place, because we know their transition is very critical to their the way they're going to start in the new school year and the new school and new program they're in. As we move to the next slide, this is one of the programs that's also offered in the school. It's our ISTEP program. It's an in-school therapeutic education program. It provides individual, group, and family counseling to students with significant social, emotional, behavioral issues, in addition to providing consultation and collaboration with staff members working with the student. This program can be utilized on its own. It can also be prescribed through the 504. And I believe it also can be prescribed if needed through an IEP. But at that point, I believe there's a little more in depth. Again, the ISTEP program is its self program. It can be utilized in various different ways. So if your child is experiencing these things, it can, and you're having a tough start to the school year, and you notice that, there is another outlet that we can utilize to support your child. We'll now move over, I see, to the music and the performing arts, I believe, is coming up. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ezzo.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic night. I am Mr. Ezzo. I am so excited to meet all of you virtually here, see your wonderful names here up on the screen, and I can't wait to see you inside the school as well. I'm here to talk to you today about our performing arts and related arts sort of programs and offerings that you'll be have access to at South Orange Middle School. The first that we're going to be talking about is our performing arts department, which is comprised of chorus, band, orchestra, and drama. Just a really quick, brief sort of overview of those. Orchestra are our string instruments. So if your child has played violin, viola, cello, or bass, and wants to continue doing that, orchestra would be their destination. Trumpet. A band is our trumpets, our trombones, our drums, our clarinets, our flutes, our tubas, our euphoniums, our saxophones, every other instrument. That's our band. And then if you like to sing, you would be with me, which would be in choir. Something that is super unique that I personally really like as a music teacher here at SOMS is that if your child sticks through the music program for the 3 years, we get to see their journey throughout the entire time. So we get to see their first day of middle school all the way up to graduation of 8th grade. And it's really really nice to be able to have that sort of consistency as kids kind of go between the different grades, which is really nice. As you get to our older grades in our 7th and our 8th grade, all of the musics have different smaller groups that you can be a part of. The orchestra has an early morning string group, which meets once a week in the morning and does a lot more difficult music. Our band has a jazz band, which is fantastic, and sometimes if I can get there early enough, I like to go in and play my trombone too and take that out. And then for choir, we have 2 smaller groups. We have a select choir, which is like chorus, but you just kind of do more difficult music and a lot more music. And then we have our own a cappella group, the Rolling Tones, which meets before school, which is like pentatonic style a cappella stuff. In addition to our music, we also have a drama department led by Miss Bo, which is absolutely fantastic. They work on improv, they work on theatrical elements, they work on monologues, and then towards the end of the trimester and towards the end of their time together in 6th grade, I know they work on scenes and monologues, and the older grades put on full-blown plays, which are they're just so fantastic. They're student directed, they're student run. Students are the one directing, backstage, lights, sounds, cameras, you name it. It's fantastic. In addition to that, because Miss Irby and everyone really kind of perpetuates just such a fantastic culture of the performing arts and just the arts in general at SOMS, that wasn't enough. So Miss Irby has helped get us the Alvin Ailey dance residency here at South Orange Middle School. I don't remember how long it's been going on. I just know it's been going on for many years.
3 years. And we just got approval that we're going to have the grant again next year. So we're super excited. And let me just chime in because now you're talking my thing, which is dance.
Amen.
Part of our residency there's a teaching artist that comes over for 16 weeks and works with our students in different forms of dance. And then it culminates with a performance at SOPAC. So a week and a half ago, our kids performed at SOPAC, and it was just absolutely incredible. And there again are other experiences from there. Mr. Ezzo, real quick, I'm just jumping in because I am
Yeah.
seeing some questions.
Of course.
Parents are asking about orchestra and drama. Can you please explain that in 6th grade they must take a music ensemble?
Yes.
And how they can choose
Absolutely.
the others, which is on Power School.
Absolutely. So there is a form that is on Power School that will allow you to pick what you would like to do. For 6th grade, you do have to pick one of the 3 music ensembles, which would be band, chorus, or orchestra. That being said, I know some people may, or some students may not have experience with those ensembles. All 3 of those, you can walk in and never have done it before. If you want to play the violin, but you never have before, you are welcome to join orchestra in 6th grade. Same thing with band and same thing with chorus. Those are full year courses. In order to make sure every 6th grader has an experience of all the other courses, there is a cycle of art 2D, art 2D, 3D, and at least drama. So that's kind of cycled in there so kids can experience it. But for 6th grade, music is a mandatory selection, again, of chorus, band, orchestra. And that form and it kind of lays it out for you is on Power School if you would like to look at it. That being said, when I have a chorus student, they will have chorus, they'll have gym, and they'll also cycle through other things. So I know right now I have some chorus students that are doing Art 2D, and then some of them are also doing drama as well. So just because you do sign up for that music, it doesn't lock you out of the other thing. That's just, so we can help plan our classes and whatnot. You do have to pick one of the 3. In terms of choosing multiple ensembles like chorus and band, we kind of wait until the school year starts to kind of see what those numbers are like and whatnot. And that's something that either myself, Ms. DiDiego, the band teacher, or Mr. Cook, the orchestra teacher, we can kind of handle that internally. So if you have a question about that, you can shoot us an email about that, and I can put my email in the chat for you so we can talk about that. On the subsequent slide, we're not going to watch it right now for time's sake. We tried the 4 of the performing arts. We tried to give you snippets of an example of like what it's like. We have some 7th grade stuff. We have some 8th grade stuff. I know I tried to pick some 6th grade stuff. And then we also have our drama performance clips as well from, I think, multiple grades. So when you get a copy of it, if you want to see it, you can see examples of the group sort of in action. And if you want subsequent examples, feel free to reach out, and we have plenty that we're happy to share. This does bring us to our next part of the related arts cycle, which is our visual arts. We are blessed to have 2 different types of art here at South Orange Middle School. We have Art 2D and we have Art 3D. Art 2D is talking about, our drawing skills, our painting skills, working with art techniques and whatnot. And Art 3D is talking about our ceramics, our paper maches, our building, our physically manipulating objects, versus our Art 2D is, manipulating things on paper through paint, through pigments, that sort of thing. I believe that kind of wraps it up for visual and performing arts. My one last thing as well, as our other teachers have said as well, there are opportunities throughout the year to do. It's not just sit down, play, sing, etc. I know, like, for example, I can speak for myself. My 6th graders right now are doing songwriting. So in lieu of giving them a sort of like sit down written test to kind of see where we've gotten, we teach the concepts. We do like a songwriting about fall songs. We've done it every year. We do fall songs in the fall. And then in the spring, we apply all the concepts that we've learned, and now they're all writing spring songs. And it's turned into something where we've been able to make like these larger assessments just like a bash, because then we get to have like a whole sort of album that kind of like tracks them as they go. And I know that orchestra and band are also doing similar things, and it's a lot of fun. And we also get to do field trips as well as we start to get, throughout the year and as we get older and whatnot. But I believe that is that. And I will
And
pass
just a
it back.
reminder that all of these, the related arts choice forms are on PowerSchool, and that's where you'll choose the related arts classes that Mr. Ezzo just described, the music, the art, the drama, as well as the Mandarin and the Spanish. Miss Walsh.
Good evening, SOMS families. My name is Miss Walsh. I am one of the school counselors here at SOMS. Our other school counselor is Mr. Singh. I see he's one of the participants in this meeting right now. I don't know if it's possible for one of our panelists to switch him over so he could speak with us tonight as well. But I'll kind of get started in introducing the school counseling program in our office. So there are two counselors here at SOMS. I have the first half of the alphabet, and then Mr. Singh has the second half of the alphabet. So we
He
kind of
should
base it
be
off of,
here.
he's here now, awesome.
Yes.
So we kind of base it off of last name. So last name's A through K. I will have students from 6th grade all the way through 8th grade, and Mr. Singh will have last names that start with L through Z, same way, 6th through 8th grade. We do our best to make the counseling office a home to all students. So it is a safe space. So if students have a problem, whether it be something in a class, something socially, an emotional concern that comes up, whether it's through the day or something that happened outside of school and it's impacting their ability to focus throughout the school day, we are here to support them. So we listen, we offer different solutions, we help students troubleshoot and problem solve, but we focus on students' overall well-being. We work really closely with teachers, administrators, team leaders, families. So if there is any concern that you have, feel free to reach out to us. We are here to support. We also help with student schedules, and we create schedules over the summer. So we go based off of the forms that you're going to fill out in PowerSchool to see what elective students like to take, the language, music, and if there are any concerns that come up with your student schedule, you can reach out to me or Mr. Singh, and we will definitely help you in figuring out those, whether it's over the summer or in the first couple weeks of school, and students are welcome to come into our office with schedule questions as well. Right, on to the next slide.
Okay, hello everybody. So I'm Mr. Singh. Like Ms. Walsh was saying, I have the second half of the alphabet, L through Z, and there's really not much I can add to the counseling piece. This is exactly what we do. We're here for social emotional. We're here for grades. We're also here for career a little bit later. We start to talk about career paths and vocational subjects in 8th grade, and we also kind of go into classrooms to do our lessons. But my favorite part about the job is actually getting to walk around the school and see all the kids where they are. So I love doing that, and I'm so excited to meet the 5th graders coming up. So as far as the advisory period, each month there's 1 or 2 Fridays that are dedicated to advisory lessons. And what that means is during the rotation period for 6th and 7th grade, what that is there's a class period at the end of the day that is specifically dedicated to different types of lessons. So say some student will have social studies for advisory, they'll have it for their last period as well. But in social studies during advisory period, they might go over SEL lessons, social emotional learning, and just different types of ways to act in school, different discussions on what's happening in the climate, all that kind of stuff. So we this year we began a Start Strong curriculum, which is an SEL curriculum based on social skills. It's based on regulation, helping students manage their own emotions, so all that kind of stuff. And especially, during the first couple of weeks, it might focus on things like organization. It might focus on things like getting used to school. And toward the end of the year, it'll start with, going up grades and kind of transitioning into other things. But in the meantime, there's also a lot of lessons as far as regulation, a lot of lessons as far as, how do we handle these situations? And that is pretty much that on advisory.
Very quickly, before we move on, I completely forgot to go over very quickly computer design. Computer design is another related arts offering technology offering for 6th grade and is in that sort of trimester rotation. That is our coding class, our computer science class, design class, where you're really picking apart different computer aspects, different coding aspects. I know sometimes you look at Scratch and you look at different other coding techniques and whatnot, and you apply those directly in the computer lab in the building. So I'm sorry I missed that, but I just wanted to quickly say that before we move on.
Our health and wellness at SOMS, obviously Mr. Turpin, our school nurse. He's not in here tonight, but he would want to express, his welcome, and his job is very important because he makes sure that all of our kids are supported as far as their care for illness and injuries. Obviously, pediatric nursing procedures, health screenings, chronic disease management. He's very important when it came to the COVID support and knowing that your child was either needed to be quarantined or not when that was in full effect. But Mr. Turpin offers great support and healthcare to all of our students and staff within the building. And again, if you have any kind of medication that needs to be administered, please get in contact with him. His email is very simple. It's kturpin at somsd.k12.nj.us. We'll put that in the chat. And again, if you have any kind of medical information that you need to get to him or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to him, and he'll do a great job to get back to you and with any of the answers you need. Faja, you still there? We can get you to
Yes,
talk about
I
the
am
social
still.
work. There you go.
Yes, I'm still here. Definitely. So I know I focused on me doing counseling for the students that have IEPs, and a lot of things that we touch on are social skills and anxiety, because a lot of students do have that coming into middle school because they don't know what to expect. And we do executive functioning, so a lot of times they're groups. A good thing with the interns this year that Miss Steiner works with, they were able to do like an organization club. So even if your child doesn't have an IEP, we don't leave them out. We always try to check the climate and see what it is that the school needs. So we always put different things in place. So if they don't get it with me because they don't have IEP counseling, don't worry. That is when the school counselors come in as well, because we all overlap each other, as well as the interns. So there's a lot of great things that the interns do. And then again, since we overlap, we never push a student away. So if you guys have any other questions regarding mental health as far as our social work program, I'll put my email in the chat as well.
And I just want to chime in as one of the school counselors. When me and Mr. Singh do introductory meetings with 6th grade students, if there are concerns that come up or we see that a student might benefit from a social work intern, we do reach out to families to kind of set up that connection early in the school year. So if it is something that you are interested in, you can always reach out to me or Mr. Singh. And then when we do those introductory meetings, if there's something such as organization or transitional anxiety that might be coming up, we can connect with you to make sure those supports are put in place sooner rather than later. Thank
And
you.
also, just to chime in as well, I'm feeling the spirit. So we do have the social work program. We also have guidance. And we have a culture here where, say, if one of us is out, the other one absolutely steps in. So we are more than happy, to speak with students. And, like we're saying, no student is going to be left unattended.
As we move to the next slide, this is the $1 million slide today.
So yes, I'm going to jump in and take this.
Are you
one
jumping
because,
in? All right, you got it.
Yes, it's 7:51 and everyone's like, okay, this is a whole lot of information, but I just want to know, what is my kid going to do when they get to the school? The doors open at 8:12. 6th grade students enter through the back door. There, you drive down the parking lot, you drop your kid off, and we will be there to greet them. At 8:12, they enter the building. They go to their locker. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. The first couple of weeks of school is when they will be assigned a locker. We're going to teach them how to do their lock. And it's crazy, but that is their biggest worry, is how do I do that combination lock? So if there's anything you can do between now and September, it is to buy your student a combination lock and have them practice. They go to their locker, they hang up their coat, they get their books for the morning. They will go to their first period class, which is also what we consider their homeroom. They'll have their first period class. I'm going off of the schedule that the sixth graders have this year. They have a period 1. Let's say it's ELA, period 2 is social studies, period 3 is math. Then they have a related arts class. That's when they're going to gym or art or some of the other things. Our periods are 40 minutes and there is a 40-minute lunch. We are lucky this year that when we redid the schedule, we have a longer lunch period, and that allows our students to eat outside. And we're so fortunate to be near such great parks that we utilize the duck pond so that the kids can run and play and have recess. They come back in. They will go to their lockers again and get their afternoon books. They have another period. They also have another related arts period. The last period of the day is what we call rotation. And that's where you rotate back through one of your other classes. So for instance, on a Monday, you may have had ELA first period, Monday rotation, you're going to go back to ELA. And that's an opportunity for the teacher to go a little bit deeper with what you've been learning, to ask even more questions, to go into things, like I said, a lot deeper in that period, to review homework, those things. Then there is the conference period. So the rotation period ends at 2:45. The conference period is an opportunity. It's a half hour this year, and we were so great to have that put in back into our schedule, where your child can go to any teacher they had. And when I say any teacher, that could be the health teacher. That could be Mr. Ezzo because they didn't get what he was singing about earlier in the morning. And they can ask their questions. They can get small group help. Now, this is something that they can go to on their own, or a teacher can schedule it. A teacher can say, you know, Jim Waldron, you need to go to conference period today. I need to see you during conference period because you didn't get something or you were absent. That's also a great time if a child was absent to be able to come back in and get some of the work. Then there's the after school programming. You can go to the next slide. And I'm sorry, that slide did say 30 minutes for lunch, but it's been moved. We're going to skip the tour for time. And that tour was actually done when we were in complete virtual mode. Here are some of our after school activities. There's Students for Social Change. There's the MLK Club. I'm not going to read them all. There's a plethora of different activities that your child can get involved with through our YouthNet activities and through the school sponsored clubs. Next slide. Again, I'm not going to read all of this. This will be in this presentation that I will send to you. But there are YouthNet opportunities that is actually available right after school from 3:15 all the way up until 6 p.m. Next slide. The All School Musical, I can't tell you enough. We have the most fabulous musicals. Our parents are so incredible with the sets that they build, with the costumes that they make. My first year here, I was able to be in the play, and then I kind of got sidelined for a minute. But this year, I went through the full audition phase, which was 3 different days. I had to do an acting audition, a dance audition, and a singing audition. And I won the role of the dancing principal in the musical Freaky Friday. So that's really an exciting thing. I didn't just see the chat, but I saw something about stage crew. And yes, that is a club, especially when the musical comes up. And our stage crew, I told them they were absolutely phenomenal this year. Achieve Tutoring. We do have Achieve Tutoring, and Anna Crane is our coordinator. And again, this information with a list of all email addresses I promised to send to you. This is through the Achieve Tutoring program, where students from the high school come to the middle school and we pair them up with a trained tutor if your child is in need of any assistance in the library, and they're overseen by, again, the coordinator, just to make sure that your kids are getting that little extra push, that little extra nudge, whatever it is that they need. We are here. Next slide. The library, our library and our media specialist is absolutely incredible. I'm not going to play this now because you can view it on your own. And when you do that, you'll see that there's a summer reading list in there. Next slide. Some of the awards and honors a couple of years ago, and we're getting ready to re-up our certification next year. We were awarded the ADL No Place for Hate School, which is really significant for us. We've been to the High Note Music Festival, more than 5 Superior Awards at this time. Our artist in residency programs, our regional orchestra, our all-state orchestra, the science fairs, the honor rolls, the Cougars of Character, and we do have a model UN program where the students do go to the conventions in New York City. Next slide. Power School. You all know about Power School, so I don't have to go into that. Next slide. But I will say this, and I'm sure it was the same way for the elementary schools, that report cards are all digital. Do not know if we're going back to paper report cards, but everything you need is on Power School. Parents, I would suggest that you check Power School from time to time to see how your student is doing, but you do not have to wait on Power School, because if something is going on, good, bad, or indifferent, teachers will reach out. I can honestly say South Orange Middle School has the greatest homeschool association in the world. They are there for us every step of the way. A couple of years ago, well, 6 years ago now, 7, when I first got to South Orange Middle School. By the way, South Orange Middle School is my home. I graduated from South Orange Middle School, yay, and Columbia High School, go Cougars. I gave them the idea about going to Washington, D.C. And of course, we want to always make sure that any student who wants to go on a trip to participate in a program is able to go. Finances do not play an option. The Homeschool Association raised over $10,000 for us the first year to equip our students to go to Washington, D.C. They have been there for us, especially through COVID. Right now, they're doing a once-a-month coffee for our teachers, and I can't tell you how we are so appreciative of our homeschool association. They do weekly e-blasts. They throw parties. In fact, they're the ones who are throwing pool parties this year for our 6th and 7th grade students. They do teacher grants. I even wrote a teacher grant for the Ailey residency because we needed more costuming. So I was awarded a grant. Teachers get grants for books. They get grants for trips. They get grants for all of these things, but it's all through you, the parents. We cannot do this alone. We also have the annual book fair. We've had virtual book events. They are just a lifesaver. I couldn't do this without them. Next slide. It's probably another HSA slide. I will get all of this information to you. Next slide. So what happens between now and September? Yes, 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 we will have a school tour. We are trying to decide when they're going to be, but it will be sometime in June. You will receive information. The Related Arts Choice Forms are on Power School. I know somebody put in the chat where to find it. The student schedules are prepared and available in Power School towards the end of August, and there will be a supply list that is posted. So that's what happens between now and September. Next slide. This is just a general supply list. 2 locks, and that's because you need one for your hallway locker, you need one for your gym locker, remembering that the gym locker has to be removed after gym because we don't have 800 gym lockers. You'll need a binder with dividers, and again, your team leaders will send this out to you. Headphones is something that we definitely need because, as we know, we're in this digital world now, and that's a great thing to also have. But again, we will send this out. What does the first day of school look like? That's probably the scary part for our parents. Again, you'll drop them off at the back of the school and they will go into the cafeteria where we will have a 6th grade convocation. They will meet with me. They will meet with the assistant principals. They will meet with guidance staff. They will meet with our entire support team. They will meet with their team leaders. They will see all of their teachers. We break them off into their first period class, and then they follow a special orientation schedule. And that includes a more in-depth tour, because now they're going to tour with just 20 to 25 students. They'll go through all the ins and outs. And what we even do is we even try to find them the quickest route to their next class, because that's always, they're like, 3 minutes, how do I get to my class? We'll promise you they'll be able to get it. We work on lockers. We spend a lot of time with lockers. They do have lunch, and on the first day of school, breakfast and the after school programming is available on the first day. Next slide. These are just going to be some pictures. I know we haven't gotten, it's 8:03, to all of the questions in the chat. This is being recorded, and I will have the questions written down, and I will answer all of them and send out an FAQ. These are some pictures from some events that we've done. That's some grade 6 stuff. Look at my babies. Grade 7, lots of outdoor stuff. Grade 8. Grade 8 students, they have a dinner dance, they go on a field trip, they do everything. That was one of our Black History Month assembly programs a couple of years ago. And we just want to let you know. Okay, hold on. We just want to thank you so much for spending an hour of your evening with us. I know it was a lot of information. Again, I will send out this presentation. I will get all of the questions. We will send out an FAQ. I will send out a list of all the people here on this screen and anyone else that you needed to reach. We are so excited. I'm so excited to be welcoming my children. And please don't get upset with me when I call them my children, but I need you to know that I am going to love them as I love my own children. Here's one thing, and this is going to be any kids out there or parents, you'll be able to help them. Here's their first trivia. There is going to be a box at School in Action Night right outside of the main office. And there's going to be an opportunity for you to drop in the answers. Your child has to do this, though. Those who have the correct answers, and I'm going to give you the questions and the answers right now, are going to have a special lunch with me at the beginning of the school year. This is the trivia. What is Miss Irby's favorite color? Purple. What is Miss Irby's favorite football team? Dallas Cowboys, baby. What is Miss Irby? Don't shake your head. What is Miss Irby's favorite basketball player? I didn't say team, I said player. LeBron James. So there you go. Favorite color is purple. Favorite team is the Dallas Cowboys. Basketball player is LeBron James. Okay, I'm rooting for the Celtics right now, but there'll be a trivia box in the main office, School in Action Night. If your child fills out, has those answers, drops it in a box, we're going to have a lunch. Go Warriors, go Bengals. And just one more little slide, just to let you know, I don't know if you got a chance to see Freaky Friday at our tours. We're going to have some of our performers perform, but one of the songs in here was I Got It. And parents, I want you to know your children's, they got it. We got this. We've got them.
Here it comes.
I think I'm looking forward to my day to tell the truth. A day amid the energy and innocence of youth. 1,000 fellow students all excited just like me. A community of learners. Really, how hard could it be? How hard could it be?
Thank you so much, families. We love you and we can't wait to see you. Bye-bye.